Hello my friends, welcome back to another little tutorial, a nice little short tutorial for today. I painted this in a tutorial not so long ago. I framed it, and when I look at the painting I think it's just missing something. It needs something for the eye, to draw the eye into the painting. So what I might do is just paint a nice sailboat, a nice big sailboat here, just going off into the distance perhaps, and maybe one or two others. So if you have a painting of a sunset at home, and for practice even, this will be an interesting little lesson, I suppose, if you want to add a little sailboat to it, just from your memory, even just from out of the blue. There's no reference photographs, just something. We'll just try it as we go. But I think it needs something. It needs like a nice, perhaps a kind of, maybe a yellow with sienna or something like that, with the light catching the sail. I just think something like that in just off to the side here, going into the sun, I think would be really nice. So I just thought I'd have a go. Let's see what we can create. It could go horribly wrong, but you won't know till you try. I might put a couple of little reflections in there as well. So let's just try it and see how it goes. All right. Enjoy the video. I'll get set up. Don't go anywhere. Okay, this is it. Now, what I am going to do is actually, I was going to just take this from my memory, trying to make it up as I go along, but I'm going to put a nice little reference photograph up there in the corner for you. I think that colour would look quite nice in this painting. See that sailboat? So I think I'll just do a kind of a rough impression of this somewhere. I'm going to take a small pointy brush. I'll take some Naples yellow and lots of thinners. Make it nice and thin and watery. I'm just going to put in a little outline of the sailboat on the painting. So now I want to be careful. I don't want to spoil the painting. I don't want to go too big. I don't want to go too small. But, okay. I am going to just start with, I think I'll start with the base, yes. I want to go into the sun slightly, you see, into these colours. So I just start now with a little base of the boat. And as I was saying, look, I want to make an impact on the painting. I don't want it to be too small, but then again, I don't want to overpower the painting either. So I need to be very careful with this, but I want to put a big sail. I want to go right up the top with the sail, you see? So that will tell you how big the boat is going to be anyway. So look, let's start with the sails. Let's just put a sail here, and then I'm going to get a stick. I need a small stick here just to balance my arm, because my hands are getting quite shaky as time goes on, with old age I presume, but it could be worse, couldn't it? Okay, so I'm going to go here and I'm going to go right up. I want to bring the sail right out and in like this. Do you know what I mean? A very pointy sail. I'm just doing this very lightly now because I can then fix it quite easily. If I put a thick coat of paint on this, it's going to be difficult to fix it. So let me think. No, that's not too bad, is it? That's all right. I'm happy enough with that. And then the next one next to it will, I suppose, just come off of this one and down like this, yes? And we put a little angle up on that one as well. Just a small angle. Let's have a look. I don't think that's too bad. What do you think? And we can always just add a bit to the boat if we like. Just make the boat a bit more eye-catching, a bit more prominent. I think that's fine. Now what I'm going to do is, I'm also going to put one perhaps off in the distance. Should we put one or two? I think I'll put another small one over here. I'm going to just go directly with my brush. I'm going to take some burnt sienna and a little Naples yellow, okay, on my brush. And I'm just going to, I don't even need a stick, I don't think. You see, I don't want to put one here and one there on either side of the sun. So let me think. Okay, look, what I'll do is I'll put a couple perhaps over here. Just going to go like this. And I'm putting a sienna onto this because I want to give the suggestion of that sun creating a kind of a hazy look on the boat, just at the start. Then I'll take some burnt umber and I'll just make the back nice dark burnt umber and soften it through. Just like that kind of effect. Do you understand what I mean? It's to show sort of the light kind of hitting the boat from the sun and just sort of disappearing into a dark colour. I'll get a small pointy brush next, nice small pointy one, and I'm going to do pretty much the same with the sail on that one over there. I'm just going to take some burnt sienna, and I'm going to go. This is quite tricky now because I'm looking at the canvas from an angle like this. I'm not directly in front of it, so this is quite tricky for me to get a straight line. I just want to put a mast. I don't think I'll do a sail. I think I'll just do a mast like that. Go up a little bit higher even. And then take some burnt umber and just darken it as it comes down, perhaps. And perhaps a couple of little ropes or something coming off of it, just a little suggestion, look. And you can see because there's a very thick grain on the canvas, it sort of scrapes across the canvas. It doesn't give you a solid line. I like that. And look, I'm just going to suggest perhaps something on the boat, just a couple of bits and pieces, as you would see, just sticking up. Now, next step for this one is perhaps just a little black. And I'll just put a little black at the back, coming across, and perhaps just a little tiny touch of black here and there on the boat as well, like so. I think that's nice just to add something to the painting, don't you? And I might then just take some burnt umber for a reflection and maybe just give a very subtle reflection. Bit of burnt sienna perhaps. I don't want to, I just want to be very careful not to overdo this. I don't want to spoil the painting completely. Perhaps just a little like that, and just a little suggestion of the boat as well. Just a small suggestion of reflection from the boat. Just to give it a little scrape underneath there, you see. I think that's, sorry, I hit the camera there. I think that's a nice little one off there. Let's move on to the big one. And I was thinking about doing this just with the palette knife, to be quite honest. But I think I'll start first with just my little round brush here. It's kind of a small medium, number 4 round brush, just to fill in the base. And I might just maybe do something similar to that. So I'm going to start with burnt sienna first. Lots of thick burnt sienna on my brush, and just pop in the boat first with some thick sienna. And then again, we'll go into a darker shade as it comes across. Take some burnt umber. I'm using just paint on its own here because really it's just a small area. You don't need to add lots of thinners into this. Okay, so we have a nice little suggestion of that boat there now. Take a bit of black perhaps, and just put a bit of black in at the back again, perhaps down along the bottom, because you have to remember as well that these are going to be in silhouette with that sun. You could, I suppose, even do them in black or a dark brown if you want, but I just like the idea of the sun kind of catching the front of the boat just ever so slightly. I'm going to try some burnt sienna with some cadmium yellow, and I'm just going to pop a little of that just on the front of the boat as well. Now you need to do this a couple of times just to get the paint to really stick. And I just want that effect, that lovely sort of sunlit effect on the front of the boat. Just like that, look, you see that? Little touch of the sun on the boat. And then again, let's just pop a couple of little details in here and there. You can use any brush for this. Big square brush or just a little pointy brush, anything. It's just to suggest that there's stuff going on. Okay, there's things on the boat. I mean, you have a little cabin, you've all that kind of stuff. And it's really just a suggestion. And finally, for that, I'm just going to put a hint of this bright yellowy colour here and there, just to suggest little hints of sunlight catching some of those. You could even do the same on this as well if you like. And look, you might not notice this too much, but I think when it's finished, you will notice these little details. You see what I mean? It's just small details. I'm going to move on now and do the sail. I'm going to get, I'll start with a small stubby brush, I think. And looking at the colour on the reference photograph, it's a rich, bright yellow goes into a kind of a soft orangey brown colour, doesn't it? So let's start off with the bright yellowy colour. I'm simply just going to take some cadmium yellow, a little sienna, and a little white. All right? It's a warm, kind of a mustardy sort of a yellow. Let me try this. That's nice, I like that. And I'm simply going to follow these lines, going over the white mark that I made for drawing. And what I'm going to do then, you see, as it comes across, I'm going to start adding more and more sienna into the mix. Okay, so I'm just darkening it ever so slightly. I have a tiny touch of thinners in this as well, okay, just a tiny touch. Get some more of that yellow, but it's primarily paint, okay, because I want lots of paint on this, lots of thick paint. A little bit more yellow and sienna. And just soften that through. We'll worry about the top in just a moment. And again, let's go to this one here. I'll take a touch of Naples yellow, just as it comes up like that. What I really want to show with this is the light almost kind of showing through the sail, the fabric of the sail. Does that make sense? That's what I'm trying to kind of show here. So let me get a pointy brush and I'll just finish this. And because the grain of the canvas is quite thick, it sort of misses some of the canvas. So you need to just sort of paint it in. You know what I mean? Just go right up there. Now I have that part done. The next thing I'm going to do is, I'm going to go back to my little medium roundy brush. I want to darken it at the top to create a little bit of contrast. So I'm going to take some cadmium red, some cadmium yellow. I apologize now if you can't see my palette beside me here, and a little burnt umber. I'm just going to use a kind of a dark reddy brown colour to darken the top. So it's going to be darker at the top, then it's going to kind of soften down into that yellowy colour. And I'm trying very carefully to keep my hands nice and steady for this. It's quite tricky sometimes. And it's really just to add a little bit of variety. That's all it is, okay? It's just add a little bit of variety into the sail. Rather than just having one simple colour, I think a little variety is nice. So going from a light to a warm, dark shade is really nice. We take a little touch of red. And you could even use a palette knife just for this and do it all in one go. I still might decide to use a palette knife, I don't know, but we'll see. The next thing I'm going to do is take some black. I'm going to take some lamp black with some cadmium red, and I'm going to just start putting some black in on top. A little more cadmium red and perhaps some burnt sienna as well. I just really want to kind of darken. I'm going to bring this actually now just almost straight down like that, okay? So I'll clean my brush. And then I'll get that dark colour and just put it on and soften it outwards. Soften it across to the left like this, you see, just soften it out. I'll do the same on this side over here. Put a dark colour down there. Try to keep it nice and straight and then soften that colour outwards. That's not coming on too badly now, is it? Not too bad at all. I think what I'll do next is I get a palette knife. I'm going to try my palette knife because a palette knife is absolutely perfect for this kind of work. Let me just scrape off what I have on the edge of that there. And I'm going to start with some bright whitey yellow. I'm just going to go to my palette here beside me, take some cadmium yellow and some white. Mix them together very quickly, very, very bright colour. And let me just go here, nice and carefully. I'm just going to drag that across. Leave it disappear as it comes up. Then I'm going to do the same with the one behind. And the only reason, I just want to catch the light on this. So then I'm going to go back to my little round brush, nice and dry, and I'm simply going to just kind of soften that out, okay? Just with my brush, just soften it away. Then I come to this one. And just go over the paint nice and gently and barely touching the canvas. And let's just soften that one out as well. So we have some nice little points of light on that, don't we? Now I'm going to go a step further. I'm going to take some white on its own. And I'm going to pop a little touch of white. Just here and there like that. And then again, I'm going to soften these out. I think that's quite eye-catching, isn't it? Next thing I want to do is take a small, very small pointy brush and take a little black, a tiny bit of thinners in this, little black, and I go right up the top and give that a nice point. I'm just going to add a few details into this. So, impression of a couple of little ropes, and you see that kind of bits and pieces going along. Apart from anything else, this is really just to add a touch of detail. And I'll just refine some of the bases of this then. Like so. So I'm going to take some black on my palette knife, and this is almost the last step really, I would say, with the boats. Take a tiny bit of black on the palette knife, and I'm just going to give a little black line up there. I want to show the mast, the very thick mast. You can just use a pointing knife for this if you like. Or sorry, a pointy brush. I'm just going to take another little bit with a pointy brush and put some down the back of this. And we don't really have to go any further than this with the sailboat, I don't think. I mean, you could if you want to just make a different colour, absolutely. But just suggest little points of detail just there. And take a little bright colour and just maybe add a little highlight across the front, like that. And then we move on to the reflections. The reflections, I'm taking this now, I'm kind of trying to do this as I go. Like, you know, I don't really have an actual reference photograph with nice reflections for this type of a colour. So I'm going to just try something myself. I'm going to take some cadmium yellow with some burnt sienna. And it needs to be darker than what you're reflecting. So I'll try this colour. I'm simply going to just give it a little wiggle. I'll try some cadmium red, cadmium yellow, and some burnt sienna. And I'll just fill that in, basically. And just remember, you're darkening it as it comes up towards the top. So you must try to kind of almost replicate what you have already. I'm just trying to be careful, very, very careful. And I'm really, to be honest, I'm kind of almost guessing now at this stage what's going where. But still, it'll be fun trying this, I think. Now what I'm going to do next is take some of that bright yellowy colour that we had. I'll take some Naples yellow and cadmium yellow and just suggest a little outline of that bright colour there, and I suggest a little touch of it here as well. Comes at an angle, doesn't it? Then I go back to my medium pointy brush and I put in a little dark colour, so a little black and a little burnt umber. I'm just going to pop a little suggestion of that mast as well, and perhaps one or two going across like that. And look, this may look completely ridiculous, it may, but I just thought I would try. I just wanted to try and see. Now I'm going to just refine the edges of that. Okay, I'm just going to refine it. It needs to be refined a little bit. So I'm going to go like this with some bright colour. And I'll do the same with this one along here. And all the while I'm doing this now, I'm sitting back. Just sitting back and taking a look. I'm going to put in the boat. Just going to take some burnt umber and pop the boat in. Then I'll get some burnt sienna and go to the front. Like so. Then I'll take some more of that bright colour and I'm going to just put a suggestion of that nice bright we have there, just along like that. And a few suggestions of darks just to mimic these. And another thing I'm going to do is just to add a hint of some light onto the water. We'll take some of that bright yellowy colour and just perhaps put a suggestion of a couple of ripples going through the reflections just here and there. I think if anything, just to break it up a touch and make it look reflective. So how was that? I'm thinking I need to just soften it down like this, very gently. Just to make it softer and kind of merge into the background ever so gently. And then just cut across. And how was that? Stand back and take a look. I don't think that's too bad, to be quite honest. I really don't. Okay, it could be a little bit better perhaps in places. I'm going to add some more cadmium yellow and white just on the sail, on the reflection of the sail. I think just to brighten it a bit. Perhaps just another touch of it in here. And I need to be careful not to overdo this. I don't want to spoil. I don't want to spoil what we have. I think that's enough, don't you? I don't want to overdo it. And I'm going to leave it at that. I think that just adds a lovely little something into the scene, don't you? Finally, I'm just going to take my palette knife and with a little dark colour, a bit of sienna maybe, a little bit of brown, I'm just going to add another 1 or 2 little sails off over here, look. Again, just to add a little bit of something. So there could be a little place over there where all the boats are being docked. Just way off in the distance. And perhaps one more small one there. And just dabbing a little dark colour across there, just to merge everything sort of into the background. Now I will put a suggestion of light on 1 or 2 of those. Show a little bit of light catching over there. I don't think we need to put anything on this side because you see with this composition, it's all about a balance in a painting. So we have the boat kind of almost in the center with the sun. We have these few little sailboats and little bits and bobs over here, just kind of popping up. Some little, you know, bits and pieces. And then we have this little bit of land on this side. So I think it kind of balances the painting out. If I start putting more sailboats and masts over here, I think it might just make it too much. So I think I'll just leave as it is. I'm quite happy with that. Again, you know, you could be looking around and you might spot something and think to yourself, yeah, maybe just brighten this touch here, add a bit more sunlight hitting that. Perhaps, do you know what I mean? Just a little. These are little things that you start adding. Sometimes they could make it worse, sometimes not. But it's something that you need to be careful with. There's one small thing I need to add. I think it would really just anchor this boat to the ground. I'm just going to take a little burnt umber and I'm going to put a tiny rope and then another little reflection of one just here like that. I think that tiny rope, it just anchors, it anchors the boat in the painting. I like that. Yes, that's quite nice now, a little rope, just to hold it down. So it's anchored in the water. And that's it, my friends. I'm going to leave it at that. Nice little quick tutorial, just to show you if you want to add something to a painting, you can quite easily, you see. Just look up some reference photographs and see what you can find. Let me just move this camera now just so you can see myself as well. Okay, that's it. I think that makes a huge difference to the painting. Let me know what you think. I certainly think it adds something to the painting. It really just catches your eye, I think, a lot more. And it's just, it looked a bit bland before. It just looked a little bit too empty. You know, certain sunsets, I think, need something in them like that, just to really catch your eye. So you could imagine now walking through a restaurant and just spotting this on the wall. I think it would really catch your eye, that yellow sail, just really grab you and pull you in. So I'm happy. I'm happy with that. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you've learned something, some little small detail. Anything at all will help. So thank you, and I'll be back very soon with a full tutorial. I'm contemplating a nice sunset. So happy painting, my friends, and I'll see you very, very soon. God bless.